minds. The five-faced Lord Shiva embraces Narada Muni and repeatedly makes loud shrieks of ecstatic joy, while Lord Brahma dances very ecstatically and exclaims, all of you chant, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. In supreme happiness, the thousand-faced Anantasesa sings and calls out, Hari Hari. By the influence of the transcendental vibration of that name, the whole universe becomes ecstatically maddened as everyone tastes and relishes the mellows of the holy name. The holy name of Sri Krishna has fulfilled all my desires by thus manifesting on everyone's tongue. Bhaktivinoda, the humble servant of the Lord, therefore prays at the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami that chanting of Harinam may always continue in this way. So may we also taste the nectar of chanting the holy names now. This is like a waltz. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narada Muni Bhajaya Vina Radhika Ramana Name Nama Amani Udita Hoy Bhakata Gita Same. Narada Muni Bhajaya Vina Radhika Ramana Name Nama Amani Udita Hoy Bhakata Gita Same. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Ami Adara Barase Gane Shavana Yugala Giya Bhakata Jane Sagane Nache Puriya Apana Hiya. Ami Adara Barase Gane Shavana Yugala Giya Bhakata Jane Sahagane Nache Boriya Apana Hiya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Madhuri Pura Asava Pasi Mataya Jakata Jane Kehova Kande Kehova Nache Kehova Te Mane Mane. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchavadana Narade Dori, Primera Sagana Ro, Kamalasana Nachiya Bole, Bolo Bolo Hari Bolo. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sahasranana Paramasuke, Hari Hari Bole Gai, Nama Prabhave Matilo Vishwa, Nama Rasa Sabe Pai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Nama Asane Spuri, Puralalo Amarasa, Shirupa Pade Yachaye Iha, Bhakati Vinoda Dasa. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Premanandi ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nasta Prayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Tadarajas Tomo Bhavo Kamaloka Tayaschaye Chaita Danavritam Stitvam Sattve Prasidati Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj ki jai Bolo Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Here, one more sheet here. So tonight, I have some very good news for everyone. I'm going to make you some promises. I promise that if you follow Krishna's advice in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, you will be happy, you will be healthy, you will be peaceful, and you'll be prosperous. How's that for a promise? Happiness is following wise, being wise. So, you'll be healthy, happy, prosperous, and peaceful. So, those sound like things that people want. You don't want to be unhealthy, unhappy, always having a mind that's agitated and troubled, and always struggling to make ends meet. Right. So today I'm going to give you the secret how you can easily attain these 4 desirable goals, because Krishna has made it easy. Why? Because he knows how difficult it is to live in this material world. He knows it's very difficult. This is the age of Kali. The age of Kali is the age of hypocrisy and quarrel. So many people are lying, and so many people are arguing they're not lying. And therefore there's trouble everywhere. You have trouble with this body. You have trouble caused by other persons or bodies. And you have trouble caused by the devas in the form of hurricanes and floods and tsunamis and epidemic diseases. And there are accidents and so forth. There's problems all the time. Everyone, no one is spared. The richest people down to the poorest people all have these problems, and no one is spared. But knowing this, Krishna has made it very easy. If you really want to be happy, peaceful, prosperous, and healthy. So, what is the secret? Well, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. First of all, he explains what the problems are, and then he explains how to overcome them, and rather very easily. He says, it's not difficult. So in the 7th chapter, Krishna explains that Shinvata swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantak sto badrani vidunati srihitsatam. First of all, he says, Shri Bhagavan uvacha maya shakta manakparta yogam yunjan madasraya asamsayam samagramam yata gyasyasi tatshrinu. Now this Vedic wisdom, Bhagavad Gita, every verse is full of Vedic wisdom. The wisdom by which you can navigate through all the problems of life and attain eternal life in this lifetime. So he says in this first verse of Bhagavad Gita, in fact, any verse of Bhagavad Gita, if you read it carefully, you can attain freedom from birth, death, old age, and disease. So he says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Prita, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So, in the explanation to this verse, another 5 verses are quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And these verses are extremely important to understand the solution to the problem. Shinvata swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantak sto badrani vidunati suhitsratam. Krishna, this verse is saying, to hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. So this is what you're doing right now. You're hearing directly about Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita, and you're hearing about Krishna from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which are the verses I'm quoting now. First I started with Bhagavad Gita, and now we're quoting verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So you're doing both today, in this moment. You're hearing from Krishna himself, from his Bhagavad Gita, and you're hearing about Krishna spoken by Sukadeva Goswami and great liberated souls from Srimad Bhagavatam. So it says, to hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best-wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. So, Krishna is in your heart right now. He's the closest person to you. No one is closer than him. No one is in your heart. And as Paramatma, he is the source of all knowledge, remembrance or memory, and forgetfulness. So, for the impious persons, he gives forgetfulness, because you cannot sin unless you forget God. You have to completely forget God, or you have to be convinced that God doesn't exist. And we explained that last week, how modern education teaches children, your children, my children, all children, that God does not exist. But they do it in a very clever way. They say that everything started by accident. There was nobody behind the creation. It's all going on automatically. And there's no need to talk about creation, because the material nature has always existed. And everything you see is a product of material combination. So, if there is a soul, it's also something material. And when you die, there's nothing after death. And to make things even more complicated, they say that human beings have come from monkeys. So, instead of being Krishna conscious, we become monkey conscious by listening to that nonsense. See? And what do monkeys do? They do nonsense all day long. Right? I don't know if you've watched monkeys. They have a lot of monkeys in India. Right? You don't see so many monkeys here, but you see a lot of them in India, especially North India. So the monkeys do nonsense all day. They're playing, they're eating, they're passing stool, they're sleeping, they're reproducing, and they cause mischief, right? So, the opposite to this is the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhava matak sarvam pravartate. I am the source of everything material and spiritual. That means everything comes from Krishna, the spiritual world and the material world. And he's present everywhere in the spiritual world and the material world by his expansions, such as the Brahman, light expansion coming from his body, such as in the spiritual world, he expands himself as Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram expands himself as the first Chaturvyuha, all Vishnu, all Narayana forms. And there's Narayana on every planet in the spiritual world. And then there's a second Chaturvyuha, and from that, Krishna expands the Vishnu avatars in the material world that are for the creation, maintenance, and absorption or destruction of the material world. So everything is happening in this way. The spiritual world is always existing. It's never comes into existence, nor it goes out of existence. But the material world has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, all material science is only concerned with the middle. It doesn't care about the beginning. It doesn't care about the end. Therefore, if you only study science and you only study atheistic philosophies, you have a very small window of reality. And because of that small window of reality, no one actually attains real happiness, peace, health, or prosperity. They're always in trouble. Even the richest people are in anxiety. For example, they once asked J.P. Getty, he was the richest man in the world in the 1950s. He owned the Getty Oil Company. They said, Mr. Getty, you're the richest man in the world. You got any worries? He said, yep, I do. He said, really? What's your worry? He said, I'm worried at the end of the month, I have to pay all my workers. He had like 125,000 employees. So here's a man, richest man in the world. He's also worried. You say. So nobody is free of worries. Even the richest people or the poorest people, they all have worries. However, if Krishna becomes your friend, then all your worries are over. Just like Krishna was Arjuna's friend and the Pandavas' friends. Krishna was Draupadi's friend. Krishna was Kunti's friend. Krishna was actually friends with Bhisma Pitamaha. See, now all these people had worries, but they were able to traverse all their worries and come out completely victorious. Why? Because they took Krishna's advice. So this is the fundamental choice we have to make in our life. Whose advice are we going to listen to? Are we going to listen to the stock guru, or are we going to listen to the guru who represents Bhagavad Gita and Krishna? They're both called gurus, but the first guru is not a guru. He is a kangaroo. He's telling you how to make more money on the stock market. But the real guru is telling you how you can attain peace, happiness, love, and also go back to Godhead in your eternal spiritual body with no more worries or cares. So, this first verse says that if we regularly hear about Krishna directly from him, from Bhagavad Gita, or about him by his pure devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, then Krishna becomes very satisfied and happy with you. See? Just like if you hear about someone who's always speaking nicely about you, right? How would you feel? Would you feel that person's a friend or an enemy? Friend. So if we are always hearing Krishna's words and relishing them, then Krishna says, I want to be that person's friend. And therefore, Lord Krishna, who's dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engaged in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. So why does it say dormant transcendental knowledge? Because it's sleeping in our heart. We have passed many, many lifetimes to come to the human birth and have human intelligence and human senses. These instruments, the senses, the mind, the intelligence, are specifically meant for self-realization. They're not meant for doing the bhangra in a bar in Bellevue. That's not the purpose of this human body. They're not meant for going to the casino and gambling. It's not meant for that. They're not meant for thinking about the stock market. Is it going to go up or down? It's not meant for that. In fact, I had an uncle. I knew what the stock market did when I went to see my uncle. If the stock market went up that day, he was happy. And if the stock market went down that day, he was very angry. So when he was happy, he said, "Oh, my dear nephew, come here. Sit on my lap. I give you some ice cream and candy." And when the stock market went down, he said, "I don't have time to talk to you right now. I'm too busy. Go away now." Right? So, is that a life? That's not life. That's called nonsense. What is that? One day up, one day down. In fact, when you go to a place like Las Vegas, people come up to you and say, "Hey, buddy, are you up or are you down?" Right? What kind of life is that? And by the way, there's no difference between the stock market and the casino. The only difference is you actually see what happens to your money when you lose in the casino, but you don't see it as clearly in the stock market. When you lose on the in the casino, you see the casino go like this with your money. It goes from the middle right to them, and it left you, right? And you say, "Oh my God, I just lost." But in the stock market, when you lose money, you don't see who's taking your money. But there is someone, if you lose money, there's someone making money. That is the stock market. The people making the money on the stock market are much smarter and much more, let's say, expert than we are. And they know how to bring people into the stock market and basically take their money. But to do that, first they let you make some money. You see. If you don't make any money, then you won't go there. And after you get really excited, you say, "Oh, this is much better than my job. You know, I just pick a stock and it goes up and I make all this money." And then you get more and more greedy, you invest more and more money, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the stock market crashes. And you lose. Overnight, you lose all your money. I knew one man, he studied the stock market, one stock on the stock market. Okay, he was doing his homework. His homework should be coming to the class and listening to Bhagavad Gita, right? But instead of doing this, he was studying one stock for a year. And he became convinced that that stock was undervalued and it had a great growth possibility. So he bought $2 million. And he's a very wealthy guy. He bought $2 million of that stock. And after he bought it, like a couple days after, there's this one so-called kangaroo. He's not a guru, he's kangaroo on the television. His name is Kramer. And Kramer, on that day, spoke about the same stock that my friend bought. He had just bought it for $2 million. He said, "This is a junk stock. Don't buy it. It's going to tank." The next day it tanked and he lost $2 million. This is after he studied it for 1 year. You see? So, let me tell you right now, if you want to lose your money in going to a casino, most people realize they're going to lose money. Why? Because the casinos are getting bigger and bigger. Right? So everyone walks into them, casinos are going to lose money. But they think, "I can make money on the stock market." It's no different than a casino. Believe me, it is gambling and it's not permitted. Let's say you get stock options in your company and they have to mature in 10 years. Well, as long as you keep your job, you'll probably get your stocks. But who knows if they're going to be around 10 years from now for those stocks to mature? You don't know. So you see, everything is planned in material life to give us what's called hope against hope. Every time, like for example, in politics, you see it very clearly. And in business also you see it. But politics is even clearer. Once you vote for someone because they promised you so many things if you vote for them, then after 4 years, you realize they didn't keep one promise. And you're not doing any better having voted for that person. But then a new set of politicians come in and they promise you other things. And you think, "Oh, well, these guys, I'm going to vote for them because they're promising me more than the other guy. And the other guy is a jerk because he didn't give me anything." So that's called hope against hope. you say. People are going hope against hope throughout their whole life, and every time they're being cheated, they're being left down, and they're getting more and more frustrated. Why do you think half the population of the United States takes opioid and other types of drugs to relieve their stress? Because there's an extreme amount of stress and frustration in this country. Okay, so now here Krishna is saying that he will help you develop your dormant knowledge, because we were all originally with Krishna in the spiritual world, but we left him. We made a bad decision to leave him and try and become like Krishna in the material world, and we're faltering. But that memory of Krishna is hidden in our heart. If we simply begin to hear about Krishna in a regular way, it'll be reawakened again. That's what he's saying here. So then the next verse says, in this way, by regularly hearing about Krishna, Krishna will purify your heart, because he becomes your best wishing friend. And then, in this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in devotional service of the Lord. So, that's what happens when people regularly come to the temple. They gradually desire to do some kind of seva. This is devotional service. Making flowers, helping us organize our festivals, using your talents, like, for example, we have web pages, we have accounting, and we have classes, and we have different programs in the temple that we need many volunteers for. So there's plenty of opportunities here to do seva. We also have our schools. We have our Hindi school, we have our Telugu school, we have the philosophy school, we have the yoga school. So there's many ways to use your talents in Krishna consciousness, right? And we also need to wash the dishes. We also have to clean the temple. And we also have many, many other services that are available. So when one becomes fixed in regularly performing devotional service in the temple, then by development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and material lusts and avarice are diminished. So what are the three things that get people in trouble? Lust, greed, and anger. Here is the formula to reduce the influence and eliminate virtually all lust, greed, and anger. Actually, lust is the flip side of real love. Originally we had love for Krishna, but when we wanted to separate ourselves from Krishna, we developed lust for developing material wealth, for dominating some parts of nature, owning this property, this car, that boat, this thing, that thing, and also manipulating people for our own advantage. That is the result of lust. So you have some people that are good at it and some people that are not good at it. Jeff Bezos is very good at it. That is manipulating people for his own benefit. And that's why you have multi-billionaires in this country. There's over maybe 1,000 billionaires now in the United States. Right? They're very expert in exploiting people's work. Now before, there used to be slavery, there used to be indentured servants, there used to be things like that where people were forced to work. Now, they studied it, and they don't have to make someone a slave by force. They do it by enticement. You can do it by issuing stock options that mature in 10 years. That makes you a slave for 10 years, right? They can do it by issuing credit cards that you can buy things that you can't actually afford to buy, right? Not right away, right? In the beginning, you're very careful. You say, oh, I bought this thing, this new refrigerator, and you try and pay it off before the end of the month so you don't pay any interest. And you're good at it for a little while. But over time, you see this advertisement. It's just like when you go to Costco to buy some bananas. When you walk in, you find out that the bananas or the grocery and the produce is at the end of the store. You have to walk through the whole store to get to it. So by the time you get to the bananas, you already bought a new television, you bought a computer, and you bought a rake and a shovel, and you saw some fertilizer, you bought that also. And by that time, you forgot about the bananas, and you go home, and your wife says, or your husband says, "Where are the bananas?" You say, "Oh, I forgot to get them." They said, "Why did you forget?" "But I got a new television. I got a new computer. So we don't need those things. We just need bananas. Go back right away." He said, "Okay, I'll go to Safeway and get them." You see, everything is planned psychologically in Costco to get you, to hook you. It's called hook, line, and sinker in English. They hook you, they pull you in, and they sink your bank account. You see? So, don't be a dupe of propaganda or advertisement. This is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness teaches you to live happily with a minimum. And material life teaches you never to be happy no matter how much you have. You see? There's a big difference. India traditionally lived happily with a minimum. Right? Like, for example, let me ask a question to anyone. How much did your grandfather or great-grandfather earn in rupees? How much? You know? How much? Yeah, in the hundreds, right? Nowadays, you get a good job in IT in India. You get a fair job in IT. You might make 50,000 rupees a month, right? If you're really good, you make 100,000, 120,000 rupees, 1 lakh something, right? That's nothing to compare to the United States, right? But even with that much money, where your grandfather only made a few hundred rupees, right? But how many children did he have? 10. Did they all get an education? Few of them. But how did they do in life? Did they have families? Did they raise their families? Yeah. So, this has been going on for thousands, hundreds and thousands, millions of years in India, right? It's only recently that, everybody wants to be a crorepati. Everybody wants, they buy houses that cost, 80, 100, 200 lakhs, right? And then now they have credit. Before there was no credit. Now you can get credit and loans. See? Before you could get loans from family members. Now you can get, like in the United States, you can get credit cards, you get loans. So my guru used to say, bank card, bankrupt. Because you start buying things that you can't actually afford, and you go into debt, and now you're paying interest. This is another type of slavery. That interest that you're paying every month is a type of slavery. Just like you buy a house, and you put down 10 or 15% or 20%, and you get a mortgage. Now, by the end of that 30 years mortgage, you paid for that house 2.5, 3 times. Right? The house only cost $1 million. By the end of 30 years, you paid $3.5 million. You see, so this is planned. It's planned so that you go into debt and you're forced to work just like a slave. And you're afraid because every company in the United States, they will lay off 10% of their employees every year, just to scare the other 90%. This is a strategy in the corporate structure. So you see, everything is planned to keep you in anxiety so you work like a slave. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't work. I'm not saying that, you should not buy a house or anything like that. I'm just saying, understand what's happening. Understand what's happening. What is happening is, people are working so hard, they don't have time for spiritual life. They're running here, viz, and they're sending their kids to these schools where the kids are learning we come from monkeys and all that stuff. And the kids are growing up to be very atheistic. And the parents, after a little while, they say, "Oh my God, I made a mistake. I should have never sent them to that school." They don't want to come to the temple. They don't want to do traditional rituals in our family that's been going on for 100 generations. They're just interested in digital technology and this new gadget or that new gadget. And they're talking crazy things like, I want to change my sex from boy to girl or girl to boy, you know. So all of a sudden you realize, what happened? We lost we made money, we have houses, we have cars, we have the American dream, but we lost our kids. We lost our culture, you see. So therefore Krishna is saying here that you can diminish this lust, greed, and anger by regularly hearing this Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam delivered by devotees, not by professional reciters, but by genuine devotees. And he becomes your personal friend because you have an interest in hearing about him. He promises that. And then he says that one will eventually become freed from rajas and tamas, and along with that, the qualities of lust, greed, and anger are diminished. Then, when these impurities are wiped away by this regular hearing and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the candidate or the devotee remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Now, this is very important, to be steady in our devotional service, because devotional service in this world is not different than devotional service in a spiritual world. If you are liberated today and you go back to Vaikuntha or Goloka, you will engage in devotional service, the same devotional service that you rendered here. It's just like this. If you have a Singer sewing machine, anybody have a Singer sewing machine at home? Anybody? You have one? You have one, right? You have one too, right? Now, if your Singer sewing machine goes back to Godhead, goes to Vaikuntha, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to continue sewing, but now only for Sriman Narayana, right? Here you're sewing for Mrs. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so. My mom was a tailor, right? She was always stitching for somebody, right? But if you begin to stitch, like we see these beautiful clothes for the deities, and you see the flower arrangements and garlands, these are all done by our devotees. They're working really hard in engaging in devotional service to please Radha and Krishna, Sita and Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, and so forth. So, if you go back to the spiritual, you'll continue doing the same thing, but this time out of pure love and devotion for the Lord. And it's fun. When I see the ladies making garlands here every day, they're having fun. They're chit-chatting. They're chanting Hare Krishna. They're making beautiful artistic garlands. Look at these garlands. We don't get them from India. We make them here. And our ladies are making them. They've become very expert at it. And some of the clothing and the flower arrangements and so forth. So one becomes expert in these arts of devotion. And here it's saying, when lust, anger, and greed are diminished and eventually go away, one becomes very fixed in devotional service and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of samsayam samagram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. So now what does it mean to become free from material affection? Well, material affection actually keeps us a slave in the material world. But when husband and wife both develop love for Radha and Krishna, you become liberated. If you just say, someone will say to his wife, I love you. And she said, oh, I love you too. But many times, after some years of marriage, she said, well, I don't really love you anymore, but I'm sticking around just for the kids. Right? And then when the kids grow up, they say, you know, I'm sick and tired of you. Let's get a divorce. Now, does it happen in India today? Yes. Before it didn't happen. Now it happens in India. Does it happen here? All the time, right? So this disease went to India. See, the disease went in several ways. The British brought coffee and tea to India so that everyone is sick there with high BP and cardiac problems and so forth. So that's the curse of the British on the Indians, coffee and tea. And also, I don't want to get into that subject, it's too long. And then secondly, America brought abortion and divorce to India. You see, India before, they never had abortions. But in the 1950s, Mrs. Margaret Sanger, an American woman from New York, had the first birth control seminar in Mumbai. And all the world experts in abortion came to Mumbai. And after that, the Indian government, especially under Nehru and then Nehru's kids and Mrs. Gandhi and so forth, they all embraced abortion. In fact, India and China and other places, they abort more children than Americans do. Americans abort about 1.5 million children a year. India, my God, there are villages in India where you have small villages where you have 200 men and 5 women. What happened to the other 195 women? They were all aborted. You see, and same thing in China. You see, so therefore, all these bad things have come from the West to corrupt the Indian culture, the great Vedic culture. But that can be reversed. Now in India, people read Marx, they read Freud, they read books on how to become a millionaire by becoming Microsoft certified, or how to become a millionaire by investing in the stock market. Before, they would listen to Ramayana, they would listen to Mahabharata, and especially Bhagavad Gita, and above all, the supreme scripture is Srimad Bhagavatam. And they would become purified of lust, anger, and greed. There was no divorce. There was no drinking and smoking. Today there's an epidemic of alcoholism in India, right? And they live peacefully. Okay, are you going to be happy? Yeah, if you live at home without debt, you raise your children to be good children, good persons, and you work together cooperatively, you're happy. You're happy. Life is peaceful. You're happy having roti and having kapre and having makan, right? Roti, kapre, makan, right? Right. You're happy, right? Because there's no debt, and there's peace in the family, and affection and love. And oftentimes 3 or 4, sometimes 5 generations were living in the same compound, you see. One time I went to Bengal, and I visited a village, and I was feeling a little sick. So because we were devotees, we were dressed like devotees, we were doing kirtan, the village elder, or the senior person in the village, invited us to his hut. He had a cow dung and mud hut with thatch, but it was really nice. It was a very hot day, but in his compound there were many fruit trees. All the trees were fruit trees, and his hut was very cool and soothing. So I sat down. We were very hot because we were traveling through the sun and the dust, and now we come and it's like an oasis. And I was looking around and I saw fruits on all the trees. I saw there's jackfruit tree, there is orange trees, there's lemon trees, there are mango trees, there's kichu trees, there is this tree, that tree. Every tree had fruits on them, right? And there were many huts there. And he was explaining, oh, this is my first son, this is my second son, this is my daughter and her husband, and this is my grandmother and grandfather, this is my great-grandmother and great-grand. They're all living in this compound. And the soil is the Gangetic, basin where the Ganges comes into Indian Ocean, not Indian, in the Bay of Bengal. So you just put your finger in the ground and water comes up, right? Ganges water. And they have 3 to 4 growing seasons. In other words, all years round, they get crops. So we were sitting down, and I was a little sick, so he went like this. Called one of his grandsons, and he went like that. And the boy climbed up the coconut tree. It was a really tall tree, but he went up it like a pro, and he came down with 3, 4 beautiful, fresh coconuts. And then they opened the coconut and they gave it to me. And I drank the coconut and I felt relieved. I felt better. my stomach ache, my headache went away. So we're sitting there talking, and he says to me in Bengali, and there was a translator, he said, I have something very private I want to discuss with you. Is that okay? I said, yeah, sure. I was thinking maybe he's going to ask me some question about Bhagavad Gita. No, he said, you live in America? I said, yes, United States, yes, I live in it. You live in San Francisco? I said, no, on the other side of the bay in Berkeley, yes. He said, I want you to help my son get a green card so he can drive taxi in San Francisco. I said, what? I said, are you crazy? You're living here in paradise. You have everything you need. Why would you send your son to San Francisco? And by the way, he could get mugged or he could be killed. It's a dangerous place. I said, no. I want one of my sons at least to go to America, and make money in America and send it back here. I said, that's a crazy idea. We want to come here. Why would you send your son? I'm here. I'm not in San Francisco. I came here to learn about your culture. Why would you send your son to America? He said, no. He can drive taxi. So I have two offers, one in Beirut, but I want him to go to San Francisco to go to America. Then when he comes back, everyone will know my son was in America. You see. You see how, and you know why this is happening? All because of the Indian television. The Indian television has ruined people's culture. They see all this nonsense that's going on in America, and they think, that's the real Amrit. This Indian Amrit is not as good as this American Amrit. But that's nonsense. That's complete nonsense. And because of that, the culture is being eroded, you see. So, this verse today, it says, why does it say that the hard knot of material affection is cut? Because when material affection means you're attached to a body, right? But spiritual affection, you and your wife or everyone is attached to the beauty of Krishna's transcendental body, and you work to please the Lord. In that way, your bond is much stronger. If it's a bodily attachment, if there's some problems in the relationship, immediately you go to see a marriage counselor, and after a while he or she will say, well, I think it's better if you get a divorce. You see? They always say that. If it looks like they're not going to get to what they consider an equitable solution, they say it's better if you get a divorce. And that's why there's so much divorce in this country. They're being advised by the marriage counselor to get a divorce. So, let's not be fooled by all this. If husband and wife together become attached to serving Krishna, you will have peace in the family. You will have steady, strong families because you're connected to the Krishna network. It's not man meets woman. Man cheats on woman. Woman gets a divorce from man. It's not like that. Or woman cheats on man. It's not like that. It's husband and wife together are dedicated to serving God, and you develop all good qualities: goodness, compassion, affection, tolerance. They learn to speak sweetly, no harsh words, so they control anger. They control lust, and they control greed, and they control illusion, and they control madness, and they control envy. So they live peacefully in this lifetime, and they all go back to Godhead, the whole family. Okay? That's why I say, if you develop an attachment to regularly hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, you will be happy, you'll be peaceful, you'll be healthy, you'll be prosperous, and you go back to Godhead, attain immortality, which is the solution to all problems. So thank you very much. We'll stop right there. Are there any questions anyone would like to ask? Any questions? And don't forget our rule: no question, no eat. There has to be one question. One question. So who's going to ask the question? Shrestha, you want to ask a question? No? You're not hungry, huh? Yeah. Anybody? This is your chance. Ask a question. You can't agree with everything I said. I said too many controversial things. There must be something you want to ask about. You want to ask a question in Hindi? You can ask the question in Hindi. Go ahead. Okay, sir, ask a question. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, it's you. You. Yeah. You don't have any question? You understood everything I said? Okay, so well, ask a question on what's beyond the mostly. There must be something that is controversial. Yes, sir. Very good question. During the hearing or reading Bhagavad Gita or chanting Hare Krishna, sometimes the mind wanders away, right? What's the solution to that? Is that what you're asking? Okay. Well, you see, that's a very good question, because the whole yoga process, and we are doing yoga, it's called Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion and love. It's not the physical yoga where you have to put your foot behind your left ear and breathe through your right nostril. It's not that type of yoga. This is yoga of love and devotion. Well, the whole emphasis in this yoga practice is controlling the mind. Because you can control the body. Someone can put a straitjacket on you and your body is controlled. But to control the mind, as Arjuna says, it's more difficult than controlling a hurricane. Hurricane Katrina destroyed most of the city of New Orleans. The Americans have the strongest army in the world. Were they able to stop the hurricane? No. They couldn't stop the hurricane, you see. And Arjuna says to control the mind is more difficult than controlling a hurricane. That's how difficult it is. But yet, Krishna says to Arjuna, first of all, Krishna says, for him, or for the person who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, the mind will remain the greatest enemy. The mind will remain the greatest enemy. But at the end of that chapter, this is the 6th chapter, I just read the 6th verse. At the end of the chapter, Arjuna asked the question again. He says, so he says, Chanchala Manak Krishna. He says, the mind is chanchal, very, very, very fickle and always wavering. He said, what can I do to control this mind? So Krishna tells him that from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. The self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free of all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness and transcendental loving service to the Lord. So the yoga he's talking about here is not putting your right foot behind your left ear or anything like that. He's talking about engaging in regular devotional service. And that's what we teach here. This is the highest form of yoga. Then Krishna says, a true yogi observes me in all beings, and he also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So, in the end, Krishna tells Arjuna, it is possible, it is difficult to control the mind, but he says, asam sayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tukonteya vairagena chargiyate. Lord Krishna said, O mighty armed Arjuna, son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and detachment. So how do you develop, what is the suitable practice? First and foremost, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because this is a mantra. Man means the mind, tra means deliverance. It delivers your mind away from ignorance by chanting the names of God. So, point number one, whenever your mind is flickering away from hearing or reading Bhagavad Gita, what you do is like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You'll see that the name of Krishna will chase away the cause of your mind flickering, and your mind will become focused again on Krishna by his holy name. Try it. We're not saying you must do this. We're saying if you see that problem, this is the solution. Try it. Try it. Try this chanting, right? And the more the forces that are taking you away from hearing Bhagavad Gita or doing devotional service, the louder you should chant. Because if you chant very loudly, then your mind will follow you. If you chant very slowly, very lowly, and with your eyes closed, you might fall asleep, right? But if you chant louder, your mind will follow the chanting, right? And then you go back to your reading, and you'll see it actually works. And whenever there's some very tempting situation that's going to make you maybe do some sinful activity, you take shelter of the holy name. That's why we have this mantra. That's why Krishna gave the mantra, is to purify the mind of these unholy thoughts and frivolous, whimsical, desires. Okay? And then suitable practice means you should regularly come to the temple and engage in devotional service. And you should take home from the temple how to do devotional service in your home also, by offering your food, by getting rid of all nonsense. In fact, you can open your window, you can look like this, left or right, there's no one there. Just take the television, throw it out, and you can throw the computer out with it, and the cell phone you can put in a safe outside, right? Or leave it in your car. So when you come in your home, you're in a safe zone. There's no electromagnetic waves of nonsense coming into your home to be picked up by these instruments of mass distraction. That's what they are. The cell phone, the telephone, the cell phone, the television, the computer, who knows what, the tablet, whatever. They're all weapons of mass distraction to take your mind away from God, to hear nonsense, right? Or you tweet, what were you doing today? I ate a hot dog. Oh, what, did you have relish on it? Yeah, relish and ketchup. Oh, that's so wonderful. That's so yummy. What? Who cares about that type of communication? It's called complete nonsense, right? So, at least keep your home a safe zone. The temple is a safe zone unless you gossip. This is not a place for gossip. It's a place to hear Bhagavatam. So Krishna becomes your best wishing friend and purifies your heart of all these nonsensical things. So thank you very much. Thank you for that. That was a very good question. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, Grantha ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So now we'll have our arti. Sorry, we're running a little late. And we do have I think it's a musical concert, short one, but a nice one, right after the arti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hey, Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Bola Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bola Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bola Bola Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur. Nitya Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur. Jai Gaura Premanandi Ki Jai. Bhaja Govinda Govinda Gopala. Bola Bhaja Govinda Govinda Gopala. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Premanandi ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pararajikacharya Statara Rishi Shishimat. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudhi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Samakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Mayapura Dham ki jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Shri Ayodhya Dham ki jai, Shri Dwarka Dham ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Ganga Maya ki jai, Jamuna Maya ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guru. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Patita Pavana ki jai. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Namaste Narasimhaya Pralada Lada Dayini. Hiranyakashipur Bhakshaha Shilatam Kala Kalaye Ito Nisinga Balato Nisinga Yato Yato Yamita To Nisinga Pahin Nisinga Hidaye Nisinga Sarashinamadim Saranam Prabhade Tabakara Kamala Bare Nakam Adhuta Singam Dalika Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Kesavajita Narayuva Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Narasingade, Jaya Narasingade, Jaya Narasingade, Jaya Narasingade. Jaya Narasingade, Jaya Narasingade, Jaya Narasingade, Jaya Narasingade. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Nandi ki jai, Bhakti Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bola Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Premanandi Ki Jai. So now we're going to have a wonderful concert. Please listen to our very kind and expert musicians and devotees. Hare Krishna. Where does you want to stand or sit? Sit. Okay, bring a chair. Oh, she's going to sit on the floor. Okay. So,
take 3 clocks are blocking an announcement.
There are 3 cars in the parking lot that are blocking other people. One is a Camry, license plate ACP 5261. ACP 5261. There is a gigantic car-eating demon in the parking lot. So if you don't move your car, it's a Camry, a gray Camry. If you don't move the car, that demon is going to eat your car, and there'll be nothing left. So please hurry up before the car-eating demon eats your car. There's a second car that's also blocking traffic in the parking lot. It is a red Range Rover ASR 7116. A red Range Rover ASR 7118. I'm sorry. And I'm sure you don't remember your license plate. So just remember it's a red Range Rover. Please move it immediately. And there is a third, oh, that belongs to General Butzel. He's our maintenance man. You can ask him downstairs. Is that blocking traffic? Yes? It's blocking? So you have, he's in the, you have to call General Butzel. He has to move his truck. Call General Butzel. He has to move his truck. His van.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you all for staying to listen to the concert. It's my mother-in-law, Mrs. Manjula Mohanraj, who's going to play the violin today. She's a well-renowned artist, All India Radio. She's been playing for many, many years, and she's won many prizes and done many concerts. So she'll be playing for us today.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
So first, she will be playing Guru Vandana, followed by Mahaganapati in the Raga Nata.
ಮುತ್ತುಸ್ವಾಮಿ ದೀಕ್ಷಿತ ಕೃತಿ. ఇంటి తాను అసావు ఇంటి దారు అసావు
The next song is Rarama Inti Daga in the Raga Asavari. Tyagaraja Kirti. The next song will be Ramanama Brovara, Tyagaraja Kriti in the Raga Harikant.
இது பிந்துமான் மாலினி.
The next song is Enta Muddo Enta Soguso and the raga Bindu Malini. Next song is Enna Tavam Sedanai in the Raga Kapi.
పంతురాయి ఎన్నగాను రామభజన పంతురాయి. Next song is in Panturali Ragam, Ennaganu Rama Bhajana, Bhadrachala Ramadas Kriti. song is in Revati Raga. Next song is Rama Rama in the Raga Tilang. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to play in this temple. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all.